Hello everyone, it's lovely to be with you again. Today we have another of our surprising stories from the Bible. Today Jesus tells a story to help people understand what really is and what isn't important in life. And there's a big surprise in store for the man at the end of the story. Let's find out more as we open the book and read the story of the greedy farmer.
The greedy farmer. Once upon a time, there was a rich man who spent his whole life thinking about how he could get richer. One morning, the rich man, who owned a farm, walked from his house to his fields. He looked at his crops and rubbed his hands together greedily.
Mine, all mine.
He climbed to the top of his biggest barn and looked out across the farm.
Work harder!
He ordered his servants, who were loading grain, sack after sack in the hot sun.
I'm very rich, but I'd like to be richer.
The next week, he walked from his house to his fields. He looked at his crops and rubbed his hands together greedily.
Mine, all mine!
He climbed to the top of his biggest barn and looked out across the farm.
Shoo! Go away! This is mine! All mine! And you can't have any of it!
Another week went by. The rich man walked from his house to his fields. He looked at his crops and rubbed his hands together greedily.
Mine! All mine!
He climbed to the top of the biggest barn and looked out across the farm.
Stop, thief!
He shouted at a poor man who had stopped to pick up some grain which had accidentally spilt on the floor. The poor man had a wife and 3 children to feed and nothing to eat.
You will have to find some other way to feed your family. This is mine, all mine, and you can't have any of it.
The rich man walked home. He thought long and hard about his grain.
It's spilling out. The birds are eating it. Poor people are coming to steal grain that's spilling out of the door. And I can't allow that to happen. That grain is mine, all mine. What shall I do?
The next morning, the rich man walked from his house to his fields.
Hey! Stop working! Put down your tools and come over here.
Servants put down their shovels in surprise.
This barn isn't big enough. Today I want you to pull it down. Yes, pull it down completely and build a bigger one. Oh, and when you've finished, you can build a second one. I have tons and tons of grain and I'm going to store it all. Then I will sell it and I will be rich beyond my wildest dreams.
Day after day, the rich man went to his fields to watch the servants building his enormous barns. He made sure that no one came by to take so much as a handful of his precious grain. At last the barns were finished. The rich man walked home. He thought long and hard about his life.
I have so much that I will never need to work again. In the morning I will go out and buy myself some fine clothes. I'll order the best food and crates of the best wine. I'm going to have a wonderful time spending my money, and it's mine, all mine.
But that very night, the man died in his sleep. No one mourned and no one wept for the man who had all the riches in the world, but who kept them all for himself. Don't be like that man. People like that can never please God. Being rich won't make you happy, and being selfish is always a bad choice in the end.
Did you spot the surprise? After all his hard work, the farmer didn't live long enough to enjoy all the money he'd made. Not really a surprise, rather a nasty shock. The farmer was selfish and greedy. He had far more than he needed, and yet he wouldn't share what he had with anyone else, even the really poor people. Let's close our eyes and think about these words from the story. By storing up riches for himself, he forgot all about the really important things in life. And now let's think about this. If being rich isn't important, then what really is? Now I'm going to say a prayer, and if you want to make it your prayer, say Amen at the end after me. Dear God, please help us to know what is really important in life and what isn't, and help us not to be like the greedy farmer, but to share what we have with others. Amen.